Alrighty, so it's been a little bit since I've done a type of video like this, and I always like to update this one every few months for the new influx of viewers on the channel. And what that is specifically a team building guide. So specifically a video dedicated on how to make teams in Dokkan Battle. Now, this video, I haven't done these in the last two, so I'm actually going to, however many iterations of this video I've done at this point. This version, I'm going to break down into two sections. So the first section, it's going to start here, and it is going to be for beginner players who don't know any mechanics about team building. You just want to know how to set up like a team that you're going to use to like play quest mode and then kind of take the next steps into becoming an intermediate player. And then the second section is going to be dedicated to players who know how to build a team, but they don't know the specifics of teams, right? Like they understand the core concept of putting units under a leader skill, and they just want to figure out the mechanics on how can they build a team to form a party that can beat like difficult content and stuff like that, right? I knocked the cord over, so that's like how you can tell it's a really good start. So with the cord being blank, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first section of this video, like I said, is going to be dedicated for beginner players, and I will leave a timestamp in the pinned comment for if you want to go over and go to the more advanced section. So, if this is your first time sort of building like a Dokkan team, this is the part for you. Now, where you guys want to go, so let's just take it from the top, right? We're at the main menu. We want to go over to our team tab. You can see it's on the button on the bottom. We're going to press that and then go over again to the team button. Now, this is going to be a list assembled of different teams that you have built. And for the sake of doing a beginner's team, I'm going to go with the free-to-play Ginyu Force team. You guys can see this right here. You can get this from the Ginyu Force training event. It is over in the growth tab over in the events section. You're going to want to farm up that. There will be a guide on the channel. If you go to the guides playlist, it is in there. So how do we want to do this? Now, the core mechanic for team building in Dokkan is fitting characters into a leader skill. Now, if you guys do not know, a leader skill is a percentage or a certain buff that one specific unit will give to the rest of the team based on a percentage of stats and based on the criteria that those units are going to fit in. So, like I said, we are building a Ginyu Force team, so we want to press the Ginyu Force button and then press OK. So now you can see this is the free Ginyu Force team, all the characters with the rainbow stars and then this LR that you get at the end for completing this team. Now, what we want to do is hold down on the Ginyu Force unit right here, and then where it says leader skill under the level button, we're going to hold on down on that again. And you guys can see this says Ginyu Force category key +4 and HP attack and defense plus 130%. So what this character is going to be doing is applying that to all of the characters on the team, and he is going in the first slot. So if I press this right here, you can see that the character, you always want to put the first character that you put on the team is going to be the leader. So you can see here with Ginyu, that is how this is going to work. Ginyu is now going to be applying a 130% buff to all stats, and then key +4 to any character that we put in slots 2 to 6. So do keep that in mind. Now that we have added our leader to the team, we want to go back into the team formation button. You don't always have to go back out. I just wanted to explain that. And we want to add the rest of the characters that fit under the leader skill. So you guys can see all 5 of these characters are going to be part of the Ginyu Force team, and they are going to be getting that 130% buff to their stats. So now we have successfully built our first team based off the Ginyu Force. But what happens when we want to use a different character that might have a different type of leader skill? Now, let's go ahead and use a summonable unit as an example. So let's just go ahead and use LR Merge Zamasu. Now, LR Merge Zamasu, if we hold down on his category, you guys can see that we have Realm of Gods, Worldwide Chaos, and you can see this one's a whole lot longer. Realm of Gods, Worldwide Chaos, or Fused Fighters, category +3, and HP attack and defense plus 170%, plus an additional attack and 30%, or an additional 30% to stats for characters who also belong to the Final Trump Card or Time Travelers category. So what do we call this here in the business? We call this a 200% leader skill, where there's a 170% buff to stats and then an extra 30 to special categories. So how do we want to build this? And then he's also an extreme class 150, but most characters don't have that, so I'm not really going to talk about that much. This might not have been the best example, but we're going to go with it anyway. So you guys can see we need to focus on Realm of Gods, Worldwide Chaos, or Fused Fighters, because those are the 3 categories at the top. So we want to go back out here, and then we want to filter it, right? So what did I say? It was Future Saga, right? Worldwide Chaos and Fused Fighters, or it was Realm of Gods, right? Sorry, Realm of Gods, Worldwide Chaos, and Fused Fighters. So if you don't know where it is, we can do this and type in Realm of Gods, right? we can also, so now that we've done that, we want to press the partial match button. So what this is going to do is put all the characters that belong to, or just characters that belong to all three of these categories, right? Or characters that just belong to one of the three categories, or they might be on all of them, right? Because if we go to full match, it's going to additionally filter them down to characters that are all on the three categories, right? So I'll show you what I mean. So if we do Realm of Gods and Full Power, this is what it's going to look like. But if we do a partial match for Realm of Gods and Full Power, it's going to give us a whole lot more options because it's characters that belong to either one of the categories rather than just both. So what we want to do is go to Realm of Gods, we want to add Fused Fighters, and then we want to go down to a Worldwide Chaos, wherever that may be. I'm used to playing the game in Japanese because I main JP, so it's a little bit harder for me to do this on. It's easier to do for English, but like I just don't know where they're at. So now that we've done that, we want to press OK. So now you guys can see that we have a very wide array of units that we can use on the team. So again, I'm not going to go into specifics, but what you want to do now is sort of just put like the characters that you want to use or your favorite characters on this team. So in my case, I love me some UI Goku, so let's just UI Goku it up, right? I like Gogeta, so let's Gogeta it up, and then there you guys go. We have a peak team, we got fusions, we got UI Goku. That is how you want to do, like, to build a team, right? You want to make sure that the units fit under the leader skill, and we did that by ensuring that we filtered it by the three categories that the character led and then doing it to partial match. Now, like I said, if we wanted to do a full match for all three of these characters, you're going to see that the list is a whole lot smaller, right? It's literally just Fuse Zamasu. So do keep that in mind. It's going to be a little bit different if you do that. So that is the basics to team building. You want to make sure that you focus on a leader skill and then filter it by characters that go under that leader skill and do the best to your ability, what you want to do for a beginner team. And then if you just don't have any teams at all, like I said earlier, there's 2 free-to-play teams in the game that they give you just for spawning in, basically, or for just like starting the game. You farm them up and you are good to go. That is Ginyu Force and Team Bardock. And you can see here all of these rainbow units, except for like this guy. He's not free. He was a Dokkan Fest. And then a couple down here, but you guys get the idea, right? So that's the beginning section of team building. And if you guys want to know about more advanced mechanics, let's go ahead and get started with that now. Okay, so now we are done talking about the beginning basics, how to fit a character under a leader skill and form a team with it. Now we are going to get into party building for difficult content and actually making a team that will win you hard events, right? Like the basic concepts of how to build a team 101, right? Now, again, I have mentioned this in previous videos, and this is going to sound very similar to guides that I've done before, but I've got a little more experience under my belt now of making these guides, and I think I can do a better job now. So the first thing that we need to do is identify the team that we want to use. Now, in this case, we are going to do a movie bosses team for this specific instance, just to have some fun with Broly and stuff like that. So what we want to do is go over to the movie bosses category. Again, if you're on this section, I'm assuming you know how to do this and how it's going to work. So we are going to go to the movie bosses section. Now, I always talk about core rules of how to do team building, right? The first thing that you want to do is identify the rotations that you want to do. If you do not know what a rotation is, these are going to be characters that appear every other turn instead of every other turn, right? Where a character that goes into slot 3 is what is considered a floater, and this is a character that you're not going to be seeing every other turn, rather, you know, an additional extra every 3 turns, right? So what we want to do is form partnerships between 2 characters that we want to have rotating together in the same spot. So the biggest thing that is going to matter for this is a character that can go into the slot 1 role and be defensive, because if you guys don't know, a character that is deemed a slot 1 unit is going to be a character that can take a hit before they super attack, or they get an additional buff from being the first attacker in a turn, right? This is a character that is the defensive role. They can take damage, and then they aren't going to need to build up first. So a really good example of a character that doesn't need to really build up at all is going to be the leader for this team that we are going to be doing today. This is, of course, LR Tech Broly. We can tell that he is a really good leader for this category because if we hold down, you guys can see he is movie bosses category 3, and then attack and defense and HP, as well as just a pure 200%. He does not have the 30% conditions to specific categories. He is just the objective best movie bosses leader in terms of stats, right? So keep that in mind. So this is going to be our slot 1 unit. Now, what do we need to do? We need to identify who's going to link up well with this character. Chill on the link levels. I pulled him like the other day. I just haven't had time. he's right where he needs to be, and now we want to identify a slot 2 partner for him. Now, Broly works out in a case where he has a bunch of different options that you can go with. When it comes to slot 2 characters that potentially would need to build up and link with this character, we can look at a guy like AGL Full Power Broly from the 9th anniversary. This character can work well with him. We could potentially put him next to Int Broly from Worldwide Download Celebration Part 2. This is a character that can link up very well with him, and that could be fine, right? So I think just for the sake of this video, what I will do is link him up with the other Worldwide Download Celebration LR. So now we have our first rotation set up. We want to do what we need to do to get into the game to pair these 2 characters together and run them as a rotation, with Tech Broly holding it down with damage reduction in slot 1, and then this other version of Broly kind of holding it down and giving us defensive utility in slot 2 with like reviving and stuff like that. This is another character you could potentially throw in slot 1 in specific events, but just in terms of linkage and stuff like that, that is what I want to do. So now that we have that, we need to move on to the next rotation. Now, this next rotation, we are going to form around LR Janemba. Now, with Janemba, this specifically is going to be a character that has a link that we want to emphasize, and that is going to be Big Bad Bosses. If you guys don't know, at Big Bad Bosses, we just get attack and defense plus 25% for free, and we want to find a character that has that. Now, there are multiple in this case, and we are missing a key unit on the global account, and that is going to be Cell Max. He would link up very well with this character, but if we want to find a character that has Big Bad Bosses and could potentially work with this character, we could use somebody like Cooler, right? This character has Big Bad Bosses. It would work very well. He has Thirst for Conquest. I don't think Janemba has Thirst for Conquest, but this Turles, he has Big Bad Bosses, right? Metal Cooler has Big Bad Bosses. This version of Broly, Chilai, and Lemo has Big Bad Bosses, and then Bio Broly as well would have Big Bad Bosses. So these are all characters that could potentially pair to go into slot 2 with Janemba, and that would work out very well. If you guys don't know, Janemba just got an EZA, and he is very good post EZA. He has defensive utility. You build him up, you toss him in slot 1, and you are good to go. So that is potentially a character that would work. Now, if we want to go with probably the best option of this bunch, it's tough to say. Again, this isn't supposed to be like a meta-defining team. This is just supposed to be like an advanced endgame team. So I'm going to throw Turles in this spot just to get that Big Bad Bosses as well as some support in there. And that team is going to work out very well just because Janemba and Turles, despite not sharing the most links, share very efficient links that are going to work out very well for the team. So now we have our 2 rotations set up, right? We have Broly with Broly and then Janemba with Turles. And that is going to work out very well for us. So now, last but not least, we need to do our floaters. Now, for our floaters, in this case, I'm going to bring AGL Full Power Broly, because this is a character that's going to build up and get stronger as the fight goes on, and then he also potentially has a domain that we can pop later in the fight that is going to give extreme class allies help, and then it's going to make super class enemies take more damage and stuff like that. And then the last floater that I'm going to be using on this team is actually going to be the Super EZA. I know he's not Super EZA'd on my account yet, but this Broly right here would potentially be giving support with Rainbow Orbs, and that would help us make like a really good team, right? So now we have exactly what we need, right? You have floating support characters. If you wanted to run like another character potentially as like a floater, you could take this character off and run like the Broly trio because they do give support as well. This team would work just fine. But all in all, I think just for like the power, I'd rather have AGL Full Power Broly. So that is how you build an advanced team based off of, you know, rotations and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and do another example with less explaining and more of just how I want to set it up. And let's use a very common team that I know a lot of people like to use, and that is going to be the Superheroes team. Okay, so we're over here with the Superheroes team. Now we're going to, again, take advantage of a mechanic that we learned earlier, and that is going to be the Superheroes, Bond of Master, Disciple, or Miraculous Awakening categories. So what we want to do is go down and find Bond of Master and Disciple, and then we also want to pull up Miraculous Awakening, because this is going to help us just give us more options for the team. So now we have that filtered, and we have a bunch of different characters that we can use. So Beast Gohan is going to be our leader because, again, we're building the team based around his leader skill, and then we want to find a rotational partner with him that could potentially work out really well. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use LR Gogeta Blue. These two work fine. Actually, I'm going to use Orange Piccolo. So Orange Piccolo, this is going to proc his unit super attack, and these characters just work very well together, despite not sharing the most links. What actually we could do, because I'm just thinking out in my head, what I'm going to do actually is link him up with Gogeta Blue, and we're going to float Piccolo later. And then the other rotation that we could potentially run is UI Goku with another UI Goku. This could work out very well, and this should just be overall very good. Now, for our floaters, what I want to do is bring Evolution Blue Vegeta and then Orange Piccolo. because both of these characters are going to be providing different things. Bond Master and Disciple will be triggered by our Beast Gohan, because we're going to be running 2 of him on the team. And something that you could also do if you want to take Piccolo off the team is run somebody like the Gammas for support. Or if you want to change this up, you could potentially do, like I said, the Gammas for support, and then you could run Broly in this spot, right? Or you could take the Gammas off for less support and go with Future Gohan. So you guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say, right? What we want to do is build 2 sets of rotations, and then we want to bring 2 floaters that are going to be providing support or are just going to be able to hold their own in difficult content, right? The case of Future Gohan and Broly, this is a hold your own type of setting. If we go to Evolution Blue Vegeta, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. He's going to be able to hold his own. Evolution Blue Vegeta and Kaioken Blue Goku, these are going to be orb changers or rainbow orb changers that get extra damage reduction and stuff like that with extra rainbow orbs. So this is going to be a character that is not only going to make Ki easier, it's also going to be doing a lot of damage. They can potentially debuff the enemy, and that is going to help us in difficult content. So with that being said, there you guys go. I hope that made sense. How to build teams in this game. It's relatively simple. Once you kind of get the hang of it, you get the idea. The most important thing, the core to team building is always setting up your rotations and making sure that your floaters are viable, right? You don't want to just bring like a support unit that's good or a support unit that's not good just for the sake of bringing support, right? Like, let's just say I were to toss in like, oh, you know, let's just toss in this Bardock on Easy 8, right? Because he's like, okay, and then he just gets obliterated in all the events, right? It probably just means that you're not setting up a character right, or it's just not optimal, right? So do keep that in mind. That is how you build a team in this game. So again, if you guys have any tips and tricks that you like to use, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below so potential new players could read them and see them. But like I said, I hope you guys found this guide enjoyable and informative. So if you did, don't forget to leave a like before you go. It helps out the channel greatly. And subscribe if you are new so you don't want to miss out on any informative Dokkan content, Dokkan news, all that kind of stuff. We are still covering Dokkan. I know Sparking Zero is coming out. We'll be talking about Sparking Zero, but we're still going to be mainly focusing on Dokkan around here. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.